Hello, everyone, to our webinar today. My name is Liz. I'm one of the co-founders of the real estate investor community. Our mission is to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life. I'm so excited to be joined by the Relay team here today. I know I'm going to be promoting a few of the team, and just welcome to everyone joining us. Excited to have you on for our webinars. We do these free webinars twice a month. Various topics: real estate investing, business, self-care, all around giving you knowledge and confidence so you can grow your investment portfolios. Whole point why we're here, and on your own terms. So thank you for everyone being here. If you can, in the chat box, let's get some chat going, some engagement going. Obviously, webinars could be a little stale. We don't want this webinar to be stale, or anything that we do at InvestHer to be rote or boring. So we really would love for you just to share in the chat box where you're calling in from, what you're excited about learning today. Just say hello. That would be great. So while I do just a couple of housekeeping things, then we'll get going in just a couple of minutes here. So let me do that.
Okay. I'll be happy. While you do that, I'll start connecting with people. We have Aaron from Goodyear, Arizona, Delaware, Maine, Nashville, Dallas. Thank you everyone for being here. Boise, Palm Springs, Florida. Nice. I'm joining from Toronto in Canada, so it's still nice and hot over here. Yeah, we're all here. And Randy, where are you connecting from?
I am in Royal Palm Beach, Florida, so you don't know hot. You think you're hot.
All right. And for some reason, I don't see either of their names, Bernardo. I don't see Bernardo, or I don't see Zoe in here as an attendee. So unless there are different names. Yeah, if you can find them. And I promoted you as co-host, so you could probably. Oh, it's Gabriella G. There's two.
Yeah, Gabriella G is Bernardo.
Okay. All right, that's one. There's two of them. And then what about Zoe?
And Zoe.
I don't see a Zoe.
Well, that's a picture of her under Gabriella G. So sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. So welcome everyone. For those who are joining us, we're going to get going here in just a minute. We're making sure the entire panel is here. We had a couple technical difficulties to ensure that, but welcome. You're in the right place. We're going to get started just in a minute here, and excited to have you here. Please share in the chat box. If you're new to our InvestHer community, I'd love to welcome you as well. So put new if this is your first event, first time you're engaging with our communities, because we so appreciate that. There's so many things happening in your world right now that it's overwhelming. So we appreciate the time you're carving out to be with us. So Rebecca, awesome. Cindy, thanks for being here. Dee, very cool, from Maryland. My in-laws are from there. Very cool. All right. So do we know how to get Zoe here, or should we start anyway?
Well, Zoe is actually Gabriella, and she is in. So Zoe can start kicking us off with the presentation, and we'll figure out Bernardo. We know Bernardo doesn't come in for a little bit, so we have a little bit of time to.
Cool. And I just Gabriella, I just so is it Gabriella or Zoe? So
it's Zoe. Under
Gabriella. Zoe. Gotcha. All right, Zoe, you should be able to share your screen.
Extra confusing. We
totally trying to confuse me. All right,
just give you 10 different names, and we'll figure it out.
Actually, before you share that screen, I just have some slides to share, if you don't mind. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. All right, so welcome again, everyone. Excited to have you on. I'm going to share the Relay team here in a moment and what they're going to be talking about today. But for those who don't know us and are familiar with our community, I want to give a very quick overview before we jump in here. So if you're not engaged with our Facebook community, we have 15,000 women in that group. That's really a safe space, right? To ask questions, to give support, and just make sure you are connected, because we kind of keep you updated of all the really cool things we're doing every week and every day. If you're not connected to our meetups, you got to get connected. We have 50 plus meetups across the country, a few in Canada. And these are really local groups of women who are supporting each other on more of a local area. And so those are meetups just are exclusively to create that safe space for women on the investment journey. We also have a real estate investor org, EXP org, excuse me, and that's for realtors. That's for realtors who are looking to invest and also grow their agent business. So you can learn more about that at our website. You know that we have free webinars twice a month. These are virtual. These are all recorded. And for anyone that misses these or wants the recording, and we've done so many like high content, high value webinars with great companies like Relay. We have those all at our website, therealestateinvestor.com/blog. So you can watch those all in terms of recordings. If you don't know yet, if you're living under a rock, we are doing our next annual conference, InvestorCon, June 2nd through 4th, Austin, Texas. So excited. Relay was such a great supporter of our event last year and continue to be a great partner. But this is 500 women who are investing in real estate coming together, and it's just a phenomenal few days. So get your ticket as soon as you can, because we're growing this exponentially, which is really exciting. And then lastly, for those who we do so many free events, free community building. We have a Strive mentorship program that we've curated the last 2 years. It's application only. It's for women who've done 5 to 10 deals and they're looking to grow and not be a solopreneur anymore and doing it alone. So that's a little bit about Strive. We have such an amazing group of women now. And it's really about just not being alone and taking your business to the next level with more ease and more quickness, quite honestly. So you're not figuring it out by yourself. So that's just more information about that. And you could check that out. And you also get a free ticket to InvestorCon. So that's my announcements. That's what's going on with our fantastic community that's growing every day. I'm going to stop sharing here, and so excited to have the Relay team on talking about what you guys do great, around finances and just, simplicity and streamlining and just what you're up to. And so we just so appreciate you all being here, being a supporter to us, and jumping into our topic here. So I'm going to be the support on the side. If I can just ask everyone during the webinar, I would love for you to put your questions. We're all about questions, because if you're not asking questions, then you could have just watched the recording and you didn't need to be here live, quite honestly. So we're all pouring ourselves into, from marketing this to executing it, and then to be able to send it to you so we can serve you and and you can ask questions in a live format. So I don't take that lightly. I really want questions so we can answer them and help you all on your journey. So put those in the Q&A box though, please, because we tend to have a very busy chat box. So put those in the Q&A box. I'll come on about 15 minutes to, and then we'll field some questions and go from there. Randy, I'm going to give the floor to you to just kind of jump in here, and then you can introduce your team and we'll go from there.
Okay, I think actually, friend, are you starting, Francisco?
You're muted, Francisco.
Yes, I'm going to kick us off. And so we have share screen. There we go. I know we all want to get into bookkeeping, so I'm going to make this nice and fast, because there's a lot of content. Randy and I were chatting earlier, and like, we can spend hours on bookkeeping because this is just a hot topic. So we're gonna speed through this. Today we're gonna talk about how to avoid the 3 biggest financial real estate mistakes. And I'm joined by the incredible Randy Ballen and Bernardo LaPadua. My name is Francisco. I am a part of the Relay team. I work on all the events. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the agenda. What are we gonna cover today? So we're gonna talk about real estate as a business, helping you understand what are some of the financial mistakes, what are your financials, balancing deals and profitability. We're going to do a quick demo about Relay, and then we have a special offer surprise. We'll keep it on the wraps until the very end, so you'll have to stay to see what that is. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping though. We're gonna Liz said, we want to ask questions. We're actually going to answer those questions as we go. We're not going to wait till the end. We talk with Randy, and we're going to just jump as soon as you ask questions. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to ask those questions. So keep them coming, but do please put them on the Q&A section. Otherwise, they will get lost in the chat. This session is being recorded, and it's going to be uploaded to YouTube later by the amazing investor team. And again, use the chat for just general questions, general comments or conversations, but let's keep all the questions to the Q&A. So with that, I'm just going to quickly tell you a little bit about Relay. In case you're not familiar with us, we were founded in 2018. We are an online banking solution specifically built for small businesses. And we were created by our co-founders, have a long track record working with small businesses, small business advisors. So they created a solution that was really tailored around small businesses. We serve all over the United States. We're 100% online. We don't have any physical branches. However, we are partnered with Thread Bank, which is a member of the FDIC, which is how we're able to secure all your investments up to $2.5 million through the FDIC. And we have over 10,000 really customers who are practicing profit first. We are the go-to bank for profit first, and Randy will tell you all about that. We're going to come later. Bernardo is going to give you a quick run through of some of the cool features that you can find in Relay and why we believe it's the right solution. But before doing that, let's get right into with Randy, and I'm going to let her take over from here. Randy.
Hello. So I am Randy Ballen, and I've been a bookkeeping professional for over 15 years. I became an entrepreneur at 50, so I'm definitely a bit of a late bloomer. Up until that point, I can honestly say I had zero interest in becoming an entrepreneur. And now, fast forward a little over 5 years later, I am the founder of Astrius Properties, Advocate Homebuyers. I have a nonprofit called Room to Rise. We address housing insecurity. Ballen Bookkeeping, and the co-founder of REI Bookkeeping Babes, where we specialize specifically in women real estate investors. So I went from no interest to being a serial entrepreneur. Clearly, I am now entirely unemployable. And I'm passionate about helping my fellow boss babes take over the world one property at a time. I'm dedicated to really helping other women realize their full potential.
All right, a quick question just to get things moving. Let's ask the people, how long have you been in real estate and what's your favorite strategy? Let's see what some of the folks say. 3 years. Ooh, 1 year, nice.
Burr is my favorite as well, so.
Nice. Anyone else wants to share how long they've been doing it? 10 years, MF. 1 year, 1.5 flipping, so birth, SFR, 4 years long term. Nice. So there's a diverse group here.
Oh,
we have a lot of
22
years. Woo! 6 months looking for the first wholesale deal. Congrats. Land flipping, long-term SFX, tax deed investing. So there you go, Randy. We had a lot of diverse folks here.
Awesome. I love it.
Okay, let's move to the next one.
Okay. So a common thing that I see is people treating their real estate investing, they think of it as investing rather than as a business. And so I went online to Investopedia, I believe, and this was their definition of an investment: a plan to put money to work today in hopes of obtaining greater amount of money in the future. And I don't know about you, but as I was taught when I worked for Borders Bookstore, hope is not a management strategy. We want to have an actual plan and take action. So this is different from putting money in the stock market. This really needs to be run as a proper business, and that's what I'm here to convince you of and give you some ideas on how to start that. If you're new, from day one, you need to treat it as a business. You need to take the steps I'm going to tell you about. If you've been around a while and you haven't done any of these things, just start doing it now. We're always looking for just forward progress. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to be continually improving. So, let's see. So the purpose of treating this like a business is making sure that we're capturing all the information that we need to capture. So we need to make sure that we include all expenses, even those paid by our JV partner, even those paid by personal accounts, all repairs, HOA dues, all taxes, fees for marketing, management, anything else. You need to treat it as a business. And this is a little bit of a to-do list that I created. So hopefully we're going to all go out, if we're not already doing it, and make sure that we run a proper business. So the two things that I see the real estate investors struggling with the most is entity structure and bookkeeping. So the first thing on your to-do list is to create an entity. Now, if you're brand new, this is probably going to involve an attorney and a tax professional to make sure that you get the correct entity structure for you. And you want to get people who specialize in real estate investing. It's somewhat complicated, and someone can be a great tax professional or a great attorney and not know as much about real estate investing. So we want to make sure that we're dealing with people who specialize. You also need to do a little soul searching and figure out what's the amount of risk that you're comfortable with. Some of this comes down, there's a best practice, which is where you have a property, each property in a separate entity. And then I have investors that I've worked with that have 20 properties in one company. That opens you up to a lot of liability. In real estate, it's entirely possible to be sued. And so when you mix things all together like that, you kind of invite more of a problem. So, and lawsuits like audits, it doesn't matter until it matters. And once it matters, it's too late to fix it. So you have to think ahead of time. How do you sleep at night? Like, it doesn't matter. Obviously, the person that has 20 properties in one LLC, he sleeps fine. He's comfortable. He understands the risk level. He's good with it. So that's something that you need to think about and have a plan. I typically have a management, not yet. Sorry. I typically have a management company as the main entity. Other people do differently. Sorry. So you want to get an EIN, also known as an FEIN. You want to open up separate bank accounts. So, and this goes for credit cards as well. They need to be in the name of each entity. And yes, each entity needs a separate bank account. So if you have 5 entities, you should have at least 5 separate bank accounts. Something that I've learned in real estate is that things move quickly. And when you want to make an offer, you don't have time to create an entity. So I always keep an open LLC ready to go. And along with that, this is how I actually got sold on Relay. So I can open up a bank account with no money down. I don't have to put money in it. That account will stay open. They won't charge me fees. And when I go to put an offer in on a property, I have my entity ready to go. I just seed the account and I am in business. And then just rinse and repeat that process. So a proper set of books. Your strategy will determine, as well as your volume, will determine how urgently I say that you really need to get an actual professional. But I've started businesses, and when we're starting out, we have to make choices based on the options that we have. So I would like to put in a good word for Wave. This is an accounting software that is free. So if you are at the beginning of your journey and you're DIYing it, this is an excellent option. Not quite as robust as a QuickBooks Online, but it is a million times better than a spreadsheet. I am against Excel spreadsheets for bookkeeping purposes. Spreadsheets have their place. I'm a bookkeeper. I have to, it's in my DNA to love spreadsheets. But for bookkeeping, this is not the best option. They are prone to errors. And there's no need for it when you have a free accounting software. So if you're in that situation, please check out Wave. Also consider getting training from a bookkeeping professional. A lot of us, myself included, offer training that if you're going to do it yourself, at least you can maybe pay for a setup, or at least pay for getting your questions answered and learning the basics of how to record things. And again, in real estate, a lot of this depends on your strategy. If you're wholesaling, you can absolutely DIY it. That is not complicated. If you're doing short-term rentals, you're probably starting out with a bookkeeper right away, or you're either overpaying or underpaying on taxes, has been my experience. And lastly, have a plan, be prepared, be proactive. And that's the difference between an investment and a business. Okay, next slide.
All right, I'm going to actually jump in because we have 2 questions from the audience.
Yes.
So the first one is, a management company as a separate entity, as in property management company?
Yeah, so when you have a management company, you can use it like a property management company, which doesn't mean that you can't hire out a property management company as well. So it would be like subcontracting in another business, right? Like, I'm a bookkeeper, but I can hire someone, another company, to do bookkeeping on my behalf as well if I would like. So the same thing with the property management. I also have people that they're real estate investors, but maybe they do consulting. That consulting income can also go through the management company. The advantage of the management company to me is that if you're trying to build credit, it's a consolidated place to build credit. And then when you open an LLC for a flip or a buy and hold, you can use that credit from the management company, right? That's what a management company does in the real world. They would pay repairs for you, and then they would bill you for those repairs later. So it gives you a way to have this consistency of building credit in one organization over time, regardless of what other entities you're opening and closing. And then typically that's also either a C or an S corp, which gives you the option to take a paycheck and become a W-2 worker for your own company, which can be helpful when you're applying for loans and things. Banks, lenders don't always understand self-employment income. It makes them nervous, and having a W-2 is, they understand that. They know what that means. Does that answer the question?
Amazing.
And there was a second question?
I think so, yes. They're coming in. So, the person said yes, thank you. Okay, second question. How do you feel about LLC series for rentals? And the person said, I don't have rentals yet, plan to in the next year or so.
So I think that the series LLC depends on the state that you're investing in. So in real estate investing, the state where the property is located, that's where the entity has to be formed. My structure is I have an LLC in Wyoming, which is anonymous, and that's the LLC that owns my Florida LLCs. All my properties are in Florida right now. So so it's essentially kind of like a series LLC. They're all owned by the LLC in Wyoming. And if you were, let's say, to get sued and someone looks up, 123 Elm Street is owned by, this holding company in Wyoming, but they can't see who owns the holding company. They can't see any of that information. You see that also with Nevada and Delaware as well. They have a little bit different rules on it, and I'm not an expert, but they do have anonymity provided that way. So the series depends on the state. There's also land trust is another way to do it. And again, that's why we want to deal with attorneys, real estate attorneys that specialize in investing, and accounting professionals that specialize in real estate investing, and they need to know the different rules in the different states.
Perfect. Randy, I'm going to let you keep going with the presentation. I have 2 more questions, but I'll save those for after, so you can keep going.
Okay. Okay, so if you are too afraid to admit that you don't understand your financials, first off, let me say you are absolutely not alone. None of this is intuitive. You're not born knowing how to read a profit and loss. And guess what? This is true of all businesses. I read a poll a few years ago. I think it said like 85% of business owners admitted that they don't understand this important aspect of their business. And I'm pretty sure another 10% were either lying or wrong. It happens frequently where I meet someone and of course, you know, people get panicky that you're going to try to sell them something. So they're like, oh, I went to school for accounting. I know all about it. I do my own books. I'm all good. And then like, typically after they've seen a presentation, they'll come back to me and say, I don't know that I really am doing it right. So you are not alone at all. This can be confusing. And that's why you just need to partner with professionals that you are comfortable with. That is a really key part to finding the right people for you to work with. As we all know here, real estate investing is still a very male-dominated space. And though we're changing it, we still have a ways to go. And it can be harder in these situations to stand up and say that you don't understand something about your financials. And I promise you, they don't understand either, but I understand the awkwardness of that. And so we want to work with other women, create rooms you can easily stand up with and freely admit that you're confused about something or you don't understand something. And this is actually why we created REI Bookkeeping Babes, because I used to work with attorneys, and let me tell you, they are equally as confused about their financial situation. And for business owners across industries, it can be kind of embarrassing. They feel like they're supposed to wear all the hats and do all the things. And that's not really true. So what is important is that you find people you can work with, professionals you can work with that explain things in a way that you understand and that you feel comfortable saying when you don't understand something. I know people that work with bookkeepers and sometimes they don't get reports. If they do get reports, it's just an email and no one's explaining to them what the reports mean. And the business owners often don't stop and say, can somebody please explain this to me? So we want to make sure that you're getting that education. It's okay not to know, but you have to set out to learn it. And that is part of owning a business, especially according to the IRS, who requires you to have actual books. And you want to make sure that you know confidently that each of your deals, each property, your private money loans, whatever you're doing is making you money on a per case basis. You want to consider all the factors. We talked about different expenses that frequently get omitted in a JV. A lot of times somebody's charged something on their personal card and they forget to tell you about it. Opportunity costs when you're making a decision. If your money is going to be tied up in this project for how long, that keeps you off the market for new opportunities. You want to consider that when you're making a decision of what you're getting involved with. And also, like I said, include the date. How long is my money tied up when I'm making these decisions? Is it a short-term deal? Then I'm not missing out on as much. If I'm going to commit to, you know, a 1-year project or a 2-year project, I have to really understand what I'm gaining from this to make up for all the opportunities that I might be passing up along the way. Okay, next. Are there questions?
Yes, I'm going to throw one for you. Who do you use to establish your entities?
So I use a combination. I use Anderson Advisors. When I started out, that was who I was with. I like that it's a large, what I like about it is a large firm. What I like about it is that there's attorneys and accountants and business advisors all together. I tend to ask complicated questions. And so I can get all those people in a room and they fight it out and then give me the answer from all of them together, as opposed to having to go to an attorney and they say this thing. And then when I go to the accountant, they say the opposite thing, because people are looking at it from different perspectives. Once you get started to create an LLC, I don't do them myself anymore. I initially did do them myself, but you can do like a CorpNet or InkFile will create LLCs for you. And it's not terribly expensive. So those are other options. There's quite a few of those companies around. InkFile and CorpNet are the two that I use, but there's also other ones as well.
Perfect. Back to you.
Okay. So getting educated on your basic financials. There's 3 basic reports that we need to be familiar with. So the first one is the income statement, which is also known as the profit and loss and also known as a P&L. The balance sheet is the second one. And then the third one is statement of cash flows, or we also call it the cash flow statement. So get to know these reports, make friends with them. They're not meant to scare you. They're meant to help you. They're supposed to help you understand the health of your business, help you make educated decisions, and help you be confident in what you're doing. So I have some samples. This is the income statement or profit and loss. This covers a period of time. So you can look at a month, you can look at a quarter, you can look at a year, you can look year to year and compare over time. And it just has your income, your revenue, and your expenses. The next report is the balance sheet. And the balance sheet is a snapshot. It's a moment in time. So it's everything leading up to that moment. And it's your assets, your liabilities, and your equity. So typically what happens is when business owners tell me, like, what happened to my money? This report, this profit and loss report tells me that I made $1 million and I don't have $1 million in the bank. What happened? The answer is oftentimes on the balance sheet, especially in real estate investing, and depending on what strategy you're using. When you're doing a flip, you can't actually deduct the expenses until you sell the flip. So we keep track of them on a balance sheet. When you buy a property, the asset of the property is on the balance sheet, but also the loan against the property is on the balance sheet. When you make a payment, a mortgage payment to a more traditional lender, you have a principal and you have the interest payment. So the interest part is on your profit and loss because that's an expense, but the principal that you're paying down is on the balance sheet. So again, it gets confusing. If you're looking at one report, you're never going to have all the answers. And then the third report is the statement of cash flows. And again, this also gives you an indication of where your money goes. So what part is going to operations and what part is going to investing and what part is going to financing. So it does answer, again, all 3 of these reports give you the full picture, right? It's like if you go to the doctor and you get an X-ray versus an MRI, you want to look at different reports to get the whole picture. Next. So this is a sad truth that not everybody realizes, but when you think about it, you can be profitable and not have enough money in the bank, and you can have money in the bank and not be profitable. So you cannot run a business by just looking at your checkbook register. It is completely ineffective. So especially in real estate investing, where we have so many annual bills, if you're not planning ahead, it's easy to get into trouble, even when you're profitable overall. Or you may have money profit from one company or one property disguising a deficit in another. So if you're not looking at things on an individual basis, you're going to carry properties that stopped being profitable and not know to make other arrangements. So many times real estate investors, think the answer to fixing a cash flow issue is getting a new deal rather than ensuring that the deals they have are profitable. So we really want to make sure that we're understanding our financials on a per property basis, or a per deal if it's money lending, that as well. The key to a smooth running business in regards to cash flow can be found in two words: allocations and reserves. So first, with allocating, do you remember I used to use the envelope system? So when I had a job, I got paid weekly, and I would cash my paycheck and I would put it into literal envelopes marked like rent and utilities, groceries, fun. And then those were that's the money that I used for each thing. So instinctively, when we go to the store, if we know we have $20, we're going to shop differently than if we know we have $100. And so allocating is where we're making decisions first off on what percentage of our business we're willing to spend on different tasks, and then also making sure that we are working to put that money aside little by little. So if you can, next slide. So the importance of allocating funds, which is basically we're giving each dollar a job. So when you get money in, you collect the rent each month, and you take that rent and you put it into different envelopes, which are now virtual envelopes in the form of bank accounts. And this eliminates the stress and the worry. Am I going to have enough to pay that insurance bill? Especially now, some of my insurance is tripled. So being prepared absolutely helps lessen your worry. In the case of real estate investing, it makes you look good to lenders. They love to look at a bank account called taxes and see that you have money in there, that you're ready to pay your taxes. And the first time that you find out you owe whatever, $8,000 in taxes, and you have that money sitting in a bank account and you just write the check, it's a great feeling to know that you're prepared. And you have to prepare for the expected unexpected, right? We know things are going to break down. We know there's going to be natural disasters. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. So we want to always be prepared. This gives you the ability to take advantage of a golden opportunity also, if you have money set aside. Training and education, like the Investor Con. If you want to go, but you say, oh, geez, I don't have $2,000, you can plan ahead and take out $166 a month, and that is less felt than a large bill. Training and education is something I always have a bank account in each business for training and education, because that is the best money that you can invest, is the money you invest in yourself. And then lastly, using your money to make money, something real estate investors should be really good at. There's a book called The And Asset. I highly recommend, talking about whole life insurance, where you can borrow against money that you have in the life insurance policy without touching that money. You borrow against it as collateral, and you're making uninterrupted compound interest, which is the key to life. Did you have something to say? Question?
All right. We do have a few questions, Randy. I'm just looking at the time, and I think what we'll do is we'll just speed through or just get through the rest of the slides. I know we have a few more, and then Zoe and Bernardo will manage the Q&A, so we have enough time. There are some really good questions, but let's get through your presentation, and then we'll save those for the end.
Sounds good. Okay, so profit first for real estate investors is how we achieve the balance of allocation and reserve so that we can be successful. So we talked earlier about having a separate bank account for each entity. But Profit First, we're having multiple bank accounts inside of an entity, and each bank account is for a different purpose. So I mentioned earlier taxes. You can have an account for payroll, for education and training, and for your profit. For example, taxes. I just got a $6,000 tax bill on one of my units. So I take out $500 a month to cover those taxes from the $3,400 rent. That is a lot less felt than having to come up with $6,000 at the same time that all my properties owe property insurance. So it just makes your life so much more manageable. And what if you could just look at the banking portal and you can get an idea? So if you wanted to do an educational training program, you can look in that account and see, oh, I have $2,000 in there. I can absolutely go to this great event. Okay, and then reserves. So that second word I mentioned, reserves are your friend because life happens. COVID happened, businesses were struggling. All my clients made it through because they carry 3 to 6 months of reserves. And so it really, again, created less stress from them and gave them the ability to get through leaner times. They were prepared for it. And again, lenders love to see that you have money that you're not spending, and it makes them want to give you more money, which is the key to making lots of money in real estate, is using other people's money as much as possible. So in order to do this, what's really vital is that we have no fee bank accounts. And again, that's where Relay has come in really handy. To be able to open up as many bank accounts as you need for a Profit First system, we have to be able to have that. And then lastly, Profit First is 100% addictive. I have accounts for training and education, for employee retreats, for all the huge annual expenses, appliances, trade shows, holiday gifts. You can make an account for anything, and it really helps you organize your money and your business. And that's it for me.
All right, so it's Bernardo here. For some reason, I cannot turn my video on, so I do apologize. Okay, do apologize for that, but thanks for having us. Just we'll talk a little bit about Relay. So as Randy, Francisco mentioned before, Relay is a free online bank, no monthly fees, no minimum balances, really created and designed to empower business owners to have better visibility on their cash flow and also collaborate better with their external advisors. Could be an accountant, a bookkeeper, a tax auditor, tax lawyer, doesn't matter. So really makes it easier whether you're following the Profit First methodology or not. But of course, if you are on Profit First, it's going to be way more valuable for you. So just a couple talking points regarding bank security. Relay is FDIC insured up to $2.5 million. So if you have up to $2.5 million on Relay, you're absolutely covered by the FDIC insured. And for your debit cards, you can have up to 50 debit cards for each entity, and all of them are protected by Visa zero liability policy. So if you have like a fraudulent transaction, or if you have a transaction that you don't recognize, you can just dispute and you will get the money refunded until your dispute process is completed. If we could move on to the next slide, please. So a couple features that Relay has to offer, as Randy mentioned, with Relay, you can open up to 20 accounts. 2 of those accounts can be savings, so you can make money on the money you have in those. And the extra 18 you could have as checking accounts. So you can have the 5 Profit First accounts, but of course you can have even more if you want. You can receive money in your Relay accounts absolutely for free, whether if it's a check, an ACH, a wire, there are no costs at all to receive money in your Relay account. And you can send next day ACH and check payments absolutely for free. The only fee that you might come across at Relay is a $5 domestic wire or a $10 domestic international wire, which is very cheap compared to whatever you have outside there. But if you don't need to send a wire at all, a next day ACH, again, it's free, it is unlimited, and you can make as many times as you want. Zoe, if I could get access to share my screen, please. Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen, and the first thing I want to guide you through is how do you log in? Logins are individual with Relay, so you will never, ever share your login credentials with anyone. If you want to provide access to someone to your account, you are going to send them an invitation. So logins are individual. I am logged in as Bernardo. You can see my name here. And the first thing that I see when I log in is my dashboard. So lots of you are in real estate. You might have multiple entities. Randy did mention how important it is to have multiple entities. You might have a holding entity. For example, Randy has a holding entity in Wyoming that owns her Florida LLCs. So you'll be able to see all your entities. And if you have 1, 5, 20, 100, you'll be able to access all of them from the same login. So that's very, very, very convenient. Let's say I want to access one of my entities, one of my LLCs. I'm going to click on this one, and whatever I see here pertains only to this account. Even if you have business partners, let's say you have an LLC, Randy and myself, we can see the LLC from the dashboard. But if Zoe and myself had another LLC, I will be able to see that LLC in my dashboard. But Randy will never be able to see my LLC with Zoe because she's not a member. So it doesn't really matter who is your business partner. You will see the LLCs that you have access to. Whatever LLCs that your business partner has, they will be able to see on their dashboard. They might not be the same if you don't own the same business. What I really want to guide you through here, considering our time, is whenever you get started on Relay, you will be able to see here at the top the setup, and we make it really easy for you to get your Profit First setup. So you go here to create your Relay accounts, you get started, and you can just choose the Profit First setup. Relay will automatically create your 5 Profit First accounts, including your profit and taxes accounts being savings. So you want to make money on the money that you put aside for reserve. When you go to accounts, this is where you will be able to see your accounts. They can be savings, they can be checkings. When you want to create new accounts, you just click here and you will be able to do so. And at any time you can see these accounts. They are individual, so they have their own account number, their own bank statements. And the only thing that they have in common is that they are owned by the same company, but whatever happens here does not happen here. Those are individual accounts. They are not envelopes, not pocket of money. As Randy mentioned, it's super, super important is how you allocate money within these accounts. You're putting money aside for tax. You're putting money aside for your operation expenses. How you're doing that really, really makes it easier for you to automate this process. You can just go to move money here at the top. Auto transfer rules. If you're not following Profit First, you can do a maximum balance rule. If you do following Profit First, you can just choose the frequency you want, and you choose the percentage that should be allocated in each account, and Relay will automatically allocate the money for you from your incoming account to your other account. So the system does it for you overnight. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to take time to do it. You can just log in and see whatever you have available for your operation expenses, what's your profit, what is your tax, everything like that. I'm pretty sure most of you are already using an external bank relationship. It might be Chase, it might be a local credit union, doesn't really matter. Relay connects to all of them. So when you go here to add money from an external account, you will be able to connect your Relay account to external accounts. You can see I have 4 here, or I can choose another one, and that enables me to transfer money from Relay to that external bank, or pull money from that bank to Relay in one business day as many times as I want for free. So I can use Relay with my external banks. If I have a loan with that bank, for example, that I cannot give up on, I absolutely can use Relay with that external bank, and it doesn't matter if it's Chase or a local union. Considering the time, I'll just show you how do you go back to your dashboard. You will click here on your name at the bottom, switch business, which will take you back to the dashboard where you can see your LLC number 3, number 4, number 5, number 100. And that's all for me. I'm going to transition it back to Zoe, and she will be able to guide you through the next portion. Thank you very much.
Can I also just say, somebody had asked about the book. So there's a Profit First, the original book by Michael Michalowicz, which is just a general book for any business. There's Profit First for real estate investors. You can see how much I love my copy. We actually give this book away to our clients. And there's also one for realtors as well. So I would definitely recommend checking them out.
Yeah, absolutely. We have copies of David Richter's book, The Profit First for Real Estate Investing, in our office. So that one I know is really popular in the real estate investing world. Just a couple of slides to end off and jumping in here. We have a couple like free content pieces for anybody who might be interested as well. Here we have a interest rate book. So as you know, like this year has been such a wild year for interest rate increases, and it has impacted a lot of folks in the real estate world. So if you're interested on our guide to how to survive and thrive amid rising interest rates, feel free to download this ebook here using the next link here. We have this QR code handy. So if you guys are interested at all, this is a free download. You can grab this from the Relay website. We've surveyed many accountants and bookkeepers and asked for the expert advice in order to compile this ebook. So all of the expertise from this book comes from real accountants and bookkeepers from Relay's network that we reached out to and surveyed to get all of this information. And then lastly, we also have a special offer for all the folks on this webinar today. A lot of you mentioned earlier that you were new to the real estate investing world, or some of you are seasoned investors. If you are new and you don't already have a bank or would like to try out Relay, we're giving a special offer to everybody on this webinar using the next link here, this QR code here. If you register for Relay using this link and you fund your account with $1, we will give you a sign-up bonus of $50 as a thank you to the investor community and for attending this webinar with us today. So I'm just going to pause here, let everybody who wants to grab this link and check out Relay if you're interested.
Awesome.
And then finally, we're going to move back to the Q&A because I know there's a bunch of questions for Randy here. And I know, Liz, just checking time-wise, are we good to answer maybe a couple of these questions?
I think, yeah, let's answer one more because we kind of want to make sure we get everyone off on time. Can we put the link to the Relay offer in the chat, please? Yeah, if you guys can put the link, Zoe, in the actual chat box too, and keep up. Why don't you just keep up your QR code just so everyone, if they missed it, they can, that'd be great. And yeah, if you could put the link in the QR code, the link in the chat box, that would be great. I'll be awesome. But yeah, let's take one more question and then we'll wrap.
Cool. I'm just gonna look for a good one here because I know there are a couple questions here in the sheet.
A lot of good questions.
Yeah, let me see. Just taking a look to see if there's any that pops out to you, Liz. Feel free to go for that one as well. I'm just trying to pick one that might be the best.
Yeah, I would actually just make it general too, because we talk to so many women who know they need to get a bookkeeper and they know they need to do more financial management like this, but they don't. They just don't, right? They know they need to, but they don't. So what have you seen to be, it's like, I'm not trying to get into a podcast interview, but what have you seen to be the quality or the what moves them forward to taking the leap of getting a bookkeeper, getting their finances in order like this? We all know this is important. No one's going to disagree with you, but a lot of women still don't. And we know that this is going to help us grow our portfolio. So I'm just curious from what you've seen on the end from Relay, and Randy, jump in. What's that one quality? What's that one question that they have to answer for themselves to move them to action, to get their finances in order? Because they know that's going to help them. So I'm just curious to get your perspective, because I know a lot of people on the call right now are probably struggling with that.
Randy, over to you on this one. I feel like this is a great question for you.
Yeah, again, I mean, I think your strategy and your volume is going to vary the answer. Again, if you're wholesaling, that's pretty simple bookkeeping. And in the beginning, you don't have money. Absolutely. You can figure out how to do that. You can do that easily in Wave. It's awesome. If you're doing something more complex, it's possible that you can get training. I mean, I have clients that have not had a deal yet, but they have, this is like maybe their side hustle, or they have money
Sure.
set aside. And so they just want to be set up correctly from the get-go. Obviously, that's not possible for all of us. And so we have to make choices. But if you really are not able, the thing about bookkeeping is this: you can pay for it now or you can pay for it later. Like
That is the key.
At some point.
That's the key.
You're paying for it at some point. And if you go to your, to a tax professional at the end of the year and hand them a shoebox full of receipts, you're definitely overpaying on taxes. Like, that's not a good way to do it. So you're going to have to pay it at some point. So I would say as soon as you can. But if you're not keeping up with it, if things are falling off, it's only going to get harder. If I talk to you today about what you spent, what you bought at Home Depot in January, you have no idea. I have no idea what I bought in January. So it becomes harder and harder and less accurate as the time goes. There are people, I deal with people who are pretty good at keeping themselves up into the point where they just get so much volume that they can't do it anymore. It's not worth their time to try to do it. So yeah, just be honest with yourself. If it's falling.
That was so important. Randy, make sure you put your contact info as well in the chat box. We got someone asking for that. I'd also just say too, we're working with Relay. It's for all kinds of companies. It's so you can really, and I think what's so awesome about them is that they really adhere to this philosophy, right, of paying yourself first. And as entrepreneurs, which whether you have a real estate investment property or you have a widget or you sell these water bottles, we're all entrepreneurs still, right? Our product happens to be a flip, or our product happens to be a rental property. But as an entrepreneur, we sometimes put ourselves last, especially as you're growing, especially as you're investing in your company. And I love the philosophy. I love that this is more than just a bank account. It's a philosophical, not philosophical, but it's a bank account, and it's structure, and it's a way of thinking about your money. And I think that's what I love about what you're up to at Relay and Randy and the team. I think that's the key, because we all can have the same systems and all these bells and whistles, but if we're not thinking differently as entrepreneurs that are growing our portfolios, then you're going to keep getting the same results. And that's what I really love about what you're up to with Relay too. It's really good stuff, especially someone who's been at this a long time. Haven't always done that. And we shifted that. And it's really important to make sure you're setting yourselves up for success. So I'd love to end real quick with one action you're going to take. We do these webinars. So number one, you learn something. More importantly than you learn something, you actually do something with what you learned. Because then literally for the last hour that we've all been here with all of you is like a waste. And we don't want to waste anyone's time ever. That's never our intent, our community. And these amazing folks have been here pouring themselves with ideas and strategies and simplicity. So love to hear one takeaway. One thing you're going to do by the end of this week as a result of our webinar today. Love to hear that. So I'm going to have to see some before we end our call here. I'm seeing thank yous, and that's great. Get my books in order and contact Randy. Awesome. I know, Sydney. Awesome. Very helpful. Download Wave. Awesome. Order the Profit First book. Sign up for Relay. Good.
Love that.
Open another reserves account. Yes. Reserves are critical. Never waste time. Thanks so much. I'm going to email Randy. Get a Relay, real estate savvy CPAs. That is huge, everyone. I've been through 4 CPAs and they all cost me money until the last one. But anyway, get the book. Yes. Very cool. All right. Awesome. Randy and Zoe and Bernardo, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, sharing your tips, and giving actionable information to our community. We just so appreciate the partnership that we have with you at Relay, and just excited to do more together. So thank you all so much. Sincerely appreciate your time. Time is the one limited resource. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone
Thanks
for being
everyone
on.
for tuning in.
Last thing, if you have more questions, bring them over to our Facebook community. That's why we have a Facebook community. Randy is active there. The Relay folks are active there. We'll tag them. That's what this is all about. So please ask in questions and please keep showing up and moving the needle on your investment journey. So thanks everyone for being here. Have a great, events. for Deborah, just go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com/events. We have another webinar coming up in a couple of weeks. I don't have the date right in front of me, but just go to our events page on our website and you'll see it there. We have 2 a month. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Bye now. Thank you, everyone.